How Kṛṣṇa becomes attracted by the devotional service of his devotees is described by Narada in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 7th canto, 10th chapter, 37th verse. There Narada addresses King Yudhishthira while the king is appreciating the glories of the character of Prahlāda Maharaj. A devotee always appreciates the activities of other devotees. Yudhishthira Maharaj was appreciating the qualities of Prahlāda, and that is one symptom of a pure devotee. A pure devotee never thinks himself as great. He always thinks that other devotees are greater than himself. The king was thinking, Prahlāda Maharaj is actually a devotee of the Lord, while I am nothing. And while thinking this, he was addressed by Narada as follows. My dear King Yudhishthira, in this world, you, the Pandava brothers, are the only fortunate people. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has appeared on this planet and is presenting himself to you as an ordinary human being. He is always with you in all circumstances. He is living with you and covering himself from the eyes of others. Others cannot understand that he is the Supreme Lord, but he is still living with you as your cousin, as your friend, and even as your messenger. Therefore you must know that nobody in this world is more fortunate than you. In the Bhagavad Gita, when Kṛṣṇa appeared in his universal form, Arjuna prayed, My dear Kṛṣṇa, I thought of you as my cousin brother, and so I have shown disrespect to you in so many ways, calling you Kṛṣṇa, or friend, but you were so great that I could not understand. So that was the position of the Pandavas. Although Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the greatest amongst all great, still he remained with those royal brothers, being attracted by their devotion, by their friendship, and by their love. That is the proof of how great this process of devotional service is. It can attract even the Supreme Personality of Godhead. God is great, but devotional service is greater than God, because it attracts him. People who are not in devotional service can never understand what great value there is in rendering service to the Lord. The first stages of devotion. The three categories of devotional service which Srila Rupa Gosvāmī describes in Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu are listed as devotional service in practice, devotional service in ecstasy, and devotional service in pure love of Godhead. There are many subheadings in each of these categories. Generally, it is understood that in the category of devotional service in practice, there are two different qualities. Devotional service in ecstasy has 4 qualities, and devotional service in pure love of Godhead has 6 qualities. These qualities will be explained by Srila Rupa Gosvāmī later on. In this connection, Srila Rupa Gosvāmī suggests that the person eligible for Krishna consciousness or devotional service can be classified by his particular taste. He says that devotional service is a continual process from one's previous life. No one can take to devotional service unless he has had some previous connection with it. For example, suppose in this life I practice devotional service to some extent. Even though it is not 100% perfectly performed, still, whatever I have done will not be lost. In my next life, from the very point where I stopped in this life, I shall begin again. In this way, there is always a continuity. But even if there is no continuity, if only by chance a person takes interest in a pure devotee's instruction, he can be accepted and advance in devotional service. Anyway, for persons who have a natural taste for understanding books like the Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, devotional service is easier than for those who are simply accustomed to mental speculation and argumentative processes.
So, Narad Muni instructed to bash them under the verse Tattva Sadhanmam Charunambujam Hari. Even one takes to devotional service, takes shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Kṛṣṇa, somewhere or other, kamat lobhat bhayat, as it is stated in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Just like the gopis, they took shelter of Kṛṣṇa superficially by lusty desire. But it was not lusty desire. It was pure love. But in the material world, same thing will be considered as lusty desire. So, where is the difference between love of God and lusty desire? Because ordinary men will consider that gopis were attracted by Kṛṣṇa in lusty desire. The Chaitanya Charitamritakar, Kṛṣṇadas Kaviraj Gosvāmī, he says that there is difference between material lusty desire and love of God. He has compared that love of God is just like gold and lusty desire is just like iron. So the difference between lusty desire and love of God is in the material world, which is going on as love, that is lusty desire, because both the party are interested in individual sense gratification. But here, the gopis or any devotee, they want to satisfy the senses of Kṛṣṇa. That is the difference between material lusty desire and love of God. Atmendriya tripti vancha tar nam kam. When one desires one's own sense gratification in the material world, suppose a boy loves a girl and a girl loves a boy, that is personal sense gratification. As soon as the personal sense gratification is not satisfied, immediately the so-called love is divorced. No more love. In the Kali Yuga, it is stated in the Śāstras, Dampatye ratime vahi, in love between husband and wife will be disturbed as soon as there is no satisfaction of sex desires. Dampatye ratime vahi. And in the Western countries we find, in our country also it has already begun, there are so many divorce cases. Mostly the divorce cases take place when there is disturbance in sex satisfaction. So that is lust. But here, in the case of Kṛṣṇa and gopis, that is different. The gopis used to dress themselves so that Kṛṣṇa will feel satisfaction. For Kṛṣṇa's satisfaction. They used to dress for Kṛṣṇa's satisfaction. That is, of course, very difficult to understand, but we should learn from the Śāstras. These gopis had no sense gratification desire. They wanted to satisfy Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇendriya tirti vancha tar nam prem. And Atmendriya tirti vancha dhare tar nam kam. So that is the difference. Love of Kṛṣṇa means to satisfy Kṛṣṇa, not satisfy sense gratification. The practical example is from Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna, in the beginning, he wanted to satisfy his senses. He declined to fight with his grandfather, with his teacher, with his nephew and brother on the other side, he thought that upon their death he will not be satisfied. That means his sense gratification. But at the end, when he understood Bhagavad Gita, the essence of Bhagavad Gita, sarvadharman parityajya mamekam saranam vraja, our duty is to satisfy the senses of Kṛṣṇa. So, then to satisfy Kṛṣṇa, he killed his kinsman, his grandfather, his teacher. So that is required, satisfaction of Kṛṣṇa, not satisfaction of personal interest. Go on, reading.
To support this statement, there are many authoritative assertions by the learned scholars of bygone ages. According to their general opinion, a person may become governed by certain convictions derived by his own arguments and decisions. Then another person, who may be a greater logician, will nullify these conclusions and establish another thesis. In this way, the path of arguments will never be safe or conclusive. The Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam recommends, therefore, that one follow in the footsteps of the authorities. Here is a general...
Mahajana gatasya pāntha. You cannot come to the conclusion what is śraddha and sadhana by simply argument. Tarka apratihatā. By argument we cannot establish. Sutayo vibhinya. The scriptures are many varieties. Sutayo vibhinya. Naso manijya samatang na bhinnam. And every philosopher must differ with another philosopher. Therefore, Mahajana Jena Gatasya Pantha. We have to follow the footprints of great authorities. They are also mentioned in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, great authorities. Śambhu Narada Śambho, Kapila Kumara Manu, Prahlāda Janaka Bhīṣma, Bali Vyasaki Vayam. Jamaraj said that these are the 8 authorities. Therefore you have got Sampradaya, Brahma Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, then Lakshmi Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya, and Kumar Sampradaya. The present Acharyas, they are Ramanu Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya, Madhva Sampradaya, Brahma Sampradaya. In this way, so we have to follow the footprints of the Sampradaya. Just like we are Gauriya, Madhva Gauriya Sampradaya. We are following the footprints of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as enunciated by the 6 Gosvamis, Srirup Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath, Srijeev Gopal Bhatta Dasa Raghunath. So, we have to follow the authorities. We cannot manufacture. There is no need of research work. Simply, if we follow the chalked out path given by the great authorities, that will help us. Yes, go on.
Here is a general description of devotional service given by Sri Rupa Gosvāmī in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Previously it has been stated that devotional service can be divided into 3 categories, namely devotional service in practice, devotional service in ecstasy, and devotional service in pure love of God. Now Sri Rupa Gosvāmī proposes to describe devotional service in practice. Practice means employing our senses in some particular type of work. Therefore, devotional service in practice means utilizing our different sensory organs in service to Kṛṣṇa. Some of the senses are meant for acquiring knowledge, and some are meant for executing the conclusions of our thinking, willing, and feeling. Thinking, feeling, and willing. So practice means employing both the mind and the senses in practical devotional service. This practice is not for developing something artificial. For example, a child learns or practices to walk. This walking is not unnatural. The walking capacity is there originally in the child, and simply by a little practice, he walks very nicely. Similarly,
Nitya Siddha Krishna Bhakti Sadhaka Muna. Not that by practicing something external, not natural, we become accustomed. That is also sometimes there. But this devotional service, Krishna consciousness, is not that type of practice. It is there already. Nitya Siddha Krishna Bhakti Sadhaka Muna. Not actually by artificial practice, it is there. Savanadi Shuddha Chitte Karayuda. It is to be awakened. Exactly just like the child, by nature, he can walk. But still, if some help is offered to the child, he walks very nicely. So this practice, Vidhi Marga, devotional service, is simply to awaken the dormant Krishna consciousness within the human being. Just like it is happening in our preaching work in the Western countries, these European American boys, they never heard the name of Krishna 4 years ago, but they have taken to Krishna consciousness seriously because it was already dormant in them. It has been simply awakened. By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, this pure vibration of transcendental sound has enlivened them and they are awakened to Krishna consciousness. It is not that artificially they have taken. It is sure. Anyone can test how much they have advanced in Krishna consciousness, how they are firmly convinced in Krishna consciousness, because it has been awakened. The nature which was dormant, that has been awakened by, that is the propaganda work of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wanted that in every town and every village of the world, on the surface of the globe, his name, the preaching of Sankirtan movement, inaugurated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, should be preached. The purpose was the dormant Krishna consciousness is there everywhere, that we are experiencing. Now, in Africa also, who are supposed to be not very advanced in civilization, they are also very nicely taking part in this Krishna consciousness movement. European Americans, they are advanced, civilized people, but even in Africa, we are having very good success. They are becoming Vaishnavas. So, and it is in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam it is said, Kirāta-hūṇāndhra-pulinda-pulkaśā, ābhīra-śumbhā, yavanaḥ, khasādayaḥ. So, these Kirātas are the Africans. So they are also becoming interested. Hūṇa, āndhra, and others, who are considered to be low-born according to Vedic civilization, but still the Vedic civilization does not prohibit anyone to come to Krishna consciousness. By our karma, we may be high-born or low-born. That does not matter. Ahaituky apratihatā. Krishna consciousness cannot be checked by any material impediment. That is not possible. Ahaituky apratihatā. It is natural. And Kṛṣṇa says, Māṅ pārtha vyapāśritya jepishu pāpa-yoni. He says that even though some people are considered to be pāpa-yoni, low-born, it doesn't matter, but he can accept the shelter of the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa. Prabhaviṣṇave namaḥ. Prabhaviṣṇave Kirāta-hūṇāndhra-pulinda-pulkaśā ābhīra-śumbhā yavanaḥ khasādayaḥ jannecha pāpa is still more low-born than these people. Śudhyanti, they can be purified. If they actually take shelter of a pure devotee, they can be purified. That is the injunction of the śāstras, Śukadeva Gosvāmī. Śudhyanti, and if people may argue how such low-born people can be purified, that reply is Prabhaviṣṇave. It is the supreme power of Lord Viṣṇu. It is possible. Kṛṣṇa says. Now, Kṛṣṇa says that everyone can be delivered simply by the process of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So whose duty is to enlighten them to Kṛṣṇa consciousness? I was just talking with Gosvāmī, Haricharan Gosvāmī. Whose duty it is to enliven people to Kṛṣṇa consciousness? It is the duty of Guru. We came to this conclusion. And who is Guru? Srotriyam Brahmanishtam. That means perfectly learned in Vedic literature and firmly convinced in Brahma realization. That means first-class Brahmin. So if the first-class Brahmanas do not take care of this pāpa-yoni, then who will deliver them? Here some agitation is going on that this movement, Kṛṣṇa consciousness movement, is killing Hindu religion. You see? Just see their poor fund of knowledge. It is the duty of the first-class Brahmin to enlighten this pāpa-yoni. Otherwise, who will enlighten them? Guru will enlighten. And who is Guru? Srotiram Brahmanishtam. Brahmanishtam means he must be Brahmin. So, if the so-called Brahmins, they do not take care of them, and if they remain Brahmins limited within some limited area, do not go outside, then who will deliver them? So these are not very sound arguments. It is very, what is called, crippled ideas. The Brahmana means udara. The opposite word of Brahmana is Kripana, who is very miser. A Brahmana cannot be miser. Even 100 years ago, the Brahmanas would give chance to anyone to become Brahmana. I have got so many instances. That is the duty of Brahmana. Pathan. The Brahmana should be learned, and Brahmana should make others learned, other Brahmin. Not that he simply satisfied that he is Brahmana and nobody should become Brahmana. No. He should make others Brahmana. Just like a big lawyer, he makes his assistants lawyer. A professor, learned professor, he makes others professor. Otherwise it is called jnana-khala, miser, and the knowledge should be distributed. Any scientist discovers, they distribute it. Similarly, Brahmana should be udara. Not only he should personally know what is Brahma, but he should distribute the knowledge. Therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Bharat bhumite manusya janma haila jaha. Janma sartha kari karo paropaka. It is the duty of the Brahmanas. Paropaka. And without being human being, how he can become a Brahmana? Cats and dogs cannot become Brahmana. The perfect human being means Brahmana. The first class perfect being. That is Brahmana. And Brahmana's duty is for paropakar. Patana, patana, jajana, jajana, dana, patigra. Satkarma, nipuna, vipra, mantra, tantra, visharada. Ābhīra-śumbhā, guru na sasyāt. One who is Vaishnava, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he becomes guru. because he is udar. Vaishnava means paradukha dukhi. Mancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhu bhayavach. Patitanam pavanib. Vaishnava is patitanam pavan. He can deliver all the fallen souls. So, we have become crippled, therefore we are talking this, that this Krishna consciousness movement is killing our Hindu principles. No, it is really, actually, Vedic principle that one should be learned and he should distribute the knowledge for paropakar. That is Brahmanism. Paradukha dukhi, kripam mudijya stamaham prapadde. Lokanang hitakarino. These are the statements in this house. Nana shastra vicharanaika nipino sadharma sangasthapaka. Lokanang hitakarino. These Gosvamis. They compiled this. Śrīmad Gosvāmī compiled this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu not for the study a few selected persons. Lokanang hitakarino, for the benefit of the whole human society. And actually that is happening. We have translated this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in English and we have got the greatest sale of this book. Everyone is picking up. It is a study book in the Temple University of United States. They like it. But it is required. We have got so much treasure house of knowledge. They should be, each and every book should be, at least Vaishnava literature, Bhagavat literature, should be translated into English and distributed all over the world. That is Lokanang Hitakarya, to benefit the whole human society, not to remain crippled within a boundary. That is not Brahmanism, that is not Vaishnavism. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.